What's up, Guy? Welcome back. Welcome back to the podcast, Guy. I have a very special guest with me today. Someone very near and dear to my heart. It's my production team in the back. I'm just kidding. It's Suanny. Suanny Garcia, everyone. Say hello to the people.
Hi, everyone. It's me.
So Suanny is here today to discuss a few topics, particularly centered around femininity, right? The Miami woman,
Good word.
double standards between women and men, feminism itself, and a little bit of everything.
We're going to discuss it together.
We're going to discuss it together.
We'll have a friendly conversation.
And hopefully we don't get into an argument at some point.
I think it'll be fine.
I think it'll be fine. We have all eyes on us. So Suanny and I go way back. I met Suanny in high school, and we didn't really get along at first.
We still don't.
Suanny, no, but we're really good friends, and we hang out often. I miss her birthdays often, and I actually just missed her birthday this weekend, so this is why I have her on. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, we're really good friends, and I honestly think she is well equipped to speak on this subject because, well, number one, she's a woman, and who better to speak about women than an actual woman? And she has a background of always trying to promote femininity and what it is to be a woman. She's also worked in several magazines and stuff and written articles about Latinas in the workplace and the beauty of every type of female body and all this stuff.
I have.
You have.
I appreciate that.
Do you want to say anything on any of that? Or?
Yeah. I mean,
a little
love
background on yourself.
Talking about the subject, and I'm glad you think I'm qualified for it.
I don't know anyone else. That's why she's here.
I love the subject, and I could just talk about it for a long time. Are you going to talk about my YouTube channel, or should I plug it in?
Shamelessly plugging in who Suanny is. Suanny Garcia. She's a writer from Miami, Florida. This
is the intro I sent.
This is the intro she sent me, so I'm just going to read it verbatim.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all about being authentic, right?
Let's
just no, I took out the end. She was formerly in PR, but now she's a writer and covers lifestyle topics in publications like Pop Sugar, Refinery 21, and Birdie. 29. Refinery 29. And
tomato.
A lot of these lifestyle topics have been female-oriented, like I said, towards the Latina woman, towards females in the workplace, beauty of all shapes and sizes, etc. She's also working on her first book, which I'd like to congratulate. I'm not at liberty to say what the book is about. Her people have told my people, each other, that
we're each other's people.
we
can't disclose that information yet. But soon.
Soon. We'll do the big reveal, and not on my channel though.
On mine, Suanny Garcia. Follow me.
So she has a YouTube channel where she overshares about her life and career, and she is also on the top 1% of oldest people on TikTok. Right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Top vieja.
Top 0.5.
It's top vieja.
And now that I turned 29, it's even worse.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Tragic.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that?
About my age?
Sure, about your age, right? We're talking about women. How do you feel about getting old as a woman?
I don't think I'm getting old yet.
Older.
Yeah, I think it's been nicer to be older. You're more sure of yourself. At least I am.
Do you worry because of the perceptions that are painted about a woman getting older?
I don't worry, not yet. I don't think I'm at the age to worry. But I always get when are you gonna settle down? When are you gonna have a family? And I feel like that's something that everybody gets at my age, especially if you're Latina. But it still doesn't annoy me because I'm still at a place where I'm good with where I am. I'm not rushing into getting into anything.
Okay. I mean, shit, even me as a guy, I feel rushed to get a family and do these things. And,
yeah.
And my body doesn't biologically stop producing to have or get dangerous to have a kid or whatever. So I can imagine it's even more there's pressure, societal pressure, family pressure, different types of
I mean, I had my mom's cousin asked her if I had a boyfriend yet because I was getting older and then I wasn't gonna be able to have babies.
That's what it is. My mom tells me the same shit. Like, you need to start having kids because a woman your age, her organs shut down. I'm like, they don't shut down. Like, you need to, chill out, mom. She's probably watching, but I don't know. So one of the first things I wanted to touch on was, since this is a Miami podcast, I want to touch around the Miami woman. Who is the Miami woman? What is the Miami woman as a human, as a creature? And like everything in the city, there's so much diversity when it comes to everything. So there's so much diversity in women as well. You know, physically, internally, mentally, emotionally, many things. But there's also a stereotypical Miami woman that they all kind of share. You do in any city. You know, every human being shares the same kind of quality. You know where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Even in small, subtle ways, but it's, everyone's a product of their environment at the end of the day. So for you specifically, what does it mean to you to be a Miami woman? What is the Miami woman, and how does she differentiate from the New York woman or the Colorado woman or whatever?
I mean, I don't know, because there's so many people that are from different backgrounds here. Mm-hmm. So I guess you could say, the Miami woman comes from Latinx background.
From everywhere.
Yeah, from everywhere.
Okay, like that's specific in itself.
More than other places, depending on where you go in Miami. Like Doral has more Venezuelans in there, and like Hialeah has more Cubans. So.
The stereotypes.
Yeah, that's a stereotype. I mean, it's a stereotype, but it's also the demographic of it. Like, there are more people in certain areas from certain backgrounds.
Absolutely. But in describing the Miami woman, what would you say? Is there superficialism involved? Are they grounded in who they are as people? Like, how would you? I mean, think about it. You were raised by a Cuban woman. You are from Miami as well. A bunch of your homegirls, our homegirls, are Miami. Like, think about who they are as people and kind of describe them in contrast to maybe from your college town. You know what I mean? There's big differences. Like,
So I can describe me.
Okay.
And my experience when I went to college.
She doesn't want to get shit on by her.
This is too much pressure to like encompass all of this in one person, or like in one prototype of a person.
You can describe various people. You don't have to name them. Just like.
I mean, I think my experience, like I went out of state to college, to Hampshire College, in Amherst, Massachusetts, and I mean, there was just like a world of a difference between where we came from, and it's like from a metropolitan city to like being in a small town, and but I guess like what people told me, because I went to school with another Miami friend. And they just always loved to hang out with us because we were just always like making jokes and having fun. And we really enjoyed like going out and just getting like the most of the college experience. Mm-hmm. So I think people have this conception of like Miami people having this sort of liveliness and culture, or it's like this particular type of culture, And what else? Something that I didn't like when I went to school is that I felt that other people had gotten a better education than I did, a better like fundamental like elementary education and high school education.
Because they went to private schools or whatever.
Because I mean, it was true. Like, I just feel like the school system here is not the best, but.
But that's in Miami or just public schools in the U.S.?
Public school. I mean, my experience is Miami. Public schools in Miami weren't the best. I had to try really hard to. Get the best teachers in my high school, because there weren't all the best ones, and you could sit in a class all day and not really learn anything, right? So then, when you get to college, is that when that sort of becomes a thing, and you realize that you're like, oh, I missed out on so much education. All these people know so much more than me just because they were able to have access to like this other education.
Or just you realize the discipline that it takes, like in college, like. Fuck, now I really have to pay attention. Like, like in high school, like I would dig off or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
But like now, like, and because teachers really didn't, in my experience, they didn't really pressure you. They would scream at you every now and then, but they didn't really pressure you like, hey, pay attention to this. Like, just like if you weren't paying attention, then you weren't paying attention. And then in college, you kind of still have that mentality, but then you kind of snap into it because you're older and you're paying for it, and you're like, wait a second, like, no, I need to like buckle down.
And it's like all this literature and all of this knowledge that they were taught that we maybe weren't, or that, like you said, like we didn't have to pay so much attention to. And I think that's a conversation that I had with my other friends who also went out of college. My friend who studied engineering, she's like, people had so much more of a better like foundational education than I did when I got there. And I think that's like an unfortunate side of like coming from Miami, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like going to other places, and also the accent, right, that you get in Miami, that you think that you don't have an accent.
We all sound like Lucy Lopez as soon as we cross Broward border.
Yeah, but I don't think the accent is unfortunate. I think it was difficult for me to like speak up in college when I got there because I sounded so different. And then once I got used to it. Did you
try to like lower the
Yeah, like I didn't want to answer some questions, like, and my classes were structured where they were very conversational. And so it was a thing for me when I first started school, but then I like just, you know, grew into it, and I was like, this is who I am. And I think that's also like the beauty of getting older and accepting where you are. It's like, this is who you are and like how I sound, and that's it. My things, what I have to say is just as valuable as what somebody else has to say, and it doesn't matter if it sounds different or not.
There you go, the Miami woman.
The Miami woman. That's true.
See, came full circle.
There you go.
I know what I'm doing. I'm a professional. Professional.
Professional.
Miami education system. Oh my God. Okay, but with a lot of that comes double standards, right? We're in 2021, and we've come such a long way with equality between men and women and LGBT and just whatever you define yourself as. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Counter. But we're still, I guess, not far ahead enough. There's still a lot of double standards, even subconscious ones that we apply to ourselves and we apply to other people. There's a lot of things that men can get away with that women cannot get away with, and vice versa. So, for example, if a woman is out here being sexual and having sex with whoever she wants, she's going to be labeled a slut most of the time, right? A man does it, you kind of get celebrated for it in a way.
Or it's like, oh, that's just what men do.
Or it's just what men do. It gets excused. But vice versa, let's say, I don't know, you're going out and we go to the same club. Who's going to skip the line? Who's going to get free drinks? Who doesn't have to pay? That's a double.
Who earns more?
No. That's later on in the show.
Okay. Well, I think like a good double standard for men, that's something that's coming up now, is a whole like painting your nails thing, where it's like Bad Bunny is doing it, and more artists are starting to do it.
There's a stigma behind that.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, like you shouldn't do that. It's not masculine. It's not manly. But we'll get to that, I guess.
Yeah, that's a whole. Yeah, I guess it is a double standard. I mean, at the same time, it's a personal preference, but I guess it is a double standard. So there's a lot of things in that scenario. Let's go to the sexuality thing, right?
Okay.
So as a woman, you go out, have sex with whoever you want, as you should and could or whatever. You know, it's your prerogative. And as a man, you do so. But let's say you're gonna go out and date you like someone, and that guy then finds out, well, she's out here, you know, just fucking whoever she wants. And that guy's mind that flips, like, oh, she's a slut. Yeah. But then vice versa, that happens with a guy and a girl, and the girl's like, well, he's a guy, you know, whatever, man. As long as he doesn't cheat on me when we're together. How does that make you feel? How does that, as a woman, like, what goes through your head? What are your thoughts on that?
You know, I feel that I've been lucky to like encounter guys, or like my romantic relationships have been like my romantic relationships have been with people that just don't have like that sort of approach to things.
Okay, more open-minded, free-spirited type of thing. Yeah,
and the only thing that bothers me a lot about that is how women are perceived. Like, so, sorry, how we started talking about this, I don't know if you remember, it was because you had posted something on your Instagram, and it was like a kangaroo with like these like really loose like lips or whatever, and then it said something like, oh, women when they sleep around or something. And so those are the kinds of attitudes.
Hold on.
It was
a joke. Let me not get canceled.
Yeah.
It was a joke, and yes, it was a kangaroo it had just given birth, and its vagina was just fucking blown out. And it said, I don't remember verbatim what it said, but it was women when they're ready to settle down and like and marry you or whatever. So it was like kind of making fun of like you chasing a girl, but then she doesn't pay attention to you because she's fucking half the world, and then she's like, okay, I'm ready now, and she's like, so that's actually how this conversation did get started. And she was like, well, Josh, like that's not true because finish.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good conversation because I think it's something that you always hear and see men talk about. So like, how are we ever gonna get past that point if we don't have these conversations?
Thinking about the kangaroo.
We gotta like insert the picture of the kangaroo.
I'm gonna edit the kangaroo picture in here.
Yeah. But I think like these are like the exact moments when women who have more of a background in feminism or any type of equality, not just towards women but to any minority, that we can like begin this conversation about why that happens. And,
no, it's important to have these conversations and to shape your mind around these types of topics. Whether you agree or disagree, that's fine, just as long as you're actually listening. Because you communicate all you want, but if you're not listening with an intent to understand, then you're not going to get anywhere. Because a lot of these conversations are por gusto. They hold no basis. People talk and talk and talk, and then if you're not listening with the intent of understanding the other person, then you're not really doing much. You might as well just not talk.
Yeah. So
it's important to listen to it with different. And I have my own opinions about in regards to this. I don't completely agree, but I don't completely disagree either. A lot of the times, and again, this can go for both women and men, just being that sexual and going around is, like you said, discarding your body. It's not, you're not respecting yourself. You can catch an STD. You're just out here giving your energy and your time to anybody. Like, that's part of.
Well, respecting yourself is like a different term, but I think I do agree with you're giving your time and energy to people that maybe aren't like deserving of it. If at the time you feel that way, like I have felt like sometimes like my energy is given and it's like, You didn't get the reciprocation, the reward you wanted from it. You didn't feel like you wasted your energy. Sort of, or I've been like, I should have just, I don't know. I don't want to. I keep burping on camera. Discuss my personal life so much. No, you don't have to, or you just pretend it's somebody else, Shabby or Susie. This girl I know, Susie. It was Def Susie. People call me by so many different names, and they're all like different. Mostly parts Snake, of me. But yeah. That's not true. Bad for the brand. Nervous laugh. You just like look at my notes. But yeah, I mean, I think, energetically, just for everybody, it's something that you should watch out for. Yeah, I mean, go and fuck all you want, but like at the same time, again, male or female, because I've had this conversation with some of my homies too. And it's great to have sex and it's great to like just go out and have fun, but at the same time, if you do it so often, you kind of feel depleted. Like, you kind of feel like just like a piece of meat, like just kind of like it's a empty. Reverse, like where you feel like you're doing this because you want like connection or something, or
it does the opposite,
pleasure or whatever it is at the moment, and then you do it and it's like, oh, this is the opposite. And now I feel like even less, like even worse of what I wanted to. Maybe not the first time or second time, but if you do it enough, it's like I've completely done the opposite of what I wanted to do. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we agree on that. Thankfully. Okay, let me see. I feel like we agree on a lot of things. We do, but we definitely have we agree on the same subjects, but along the way, the route to it, the destination is the same, but the journey to that destination is very different. So we might sometimes I like how you describe that. Discuss it differently, yeah. So it's important for these double standards for people to be aware of them. Be aware of it. Catch yourself when you're thinking this type of way. And it also depends if you want to keep the double standards. It's your prerogative. Like, keep the double standards. Just don't shit on other people for not meeting your views or your quality of life or whatever. Live and let live type of thing. Why do you think people want to keep, why do you think men want to keep those double standards or, want to view women? There's so many reasons. You're brought up that way. You think, it's indoctrinated. It's taught in the family and society. And
A key that can open any lock is a powerful key, but a lock that can be opened by any key is a shitty lock. I'm just kidding. A little bit. See, but that's but that's taught into me, and a small part of me does believe it. And I'll be honest, I will. I'm trying really hard to not think that way, but but I do. It's the fact. I'm not gonna lie. And it's easier. It's easier just to maybe guys become fearful of women that are too sexual, like, you know, or she's out here fucking everyone, and I don't know. There's a myriad of reasons, but ultimately, at the core of it, I think it's just taught. They're taught to men, and you just at the core, that's where it sits. You know, like no, this isn't innate. Babies aren't born thinking, you know, girl babies are sluts.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because I think a lot of like these ways of thinking are also taught by women, by their moms, like by people's moms. Like the other day, my mom was talking to me about how she had a friend who his kid got in trouble in school, and he got reprimanded by his teacher, and that his father was talking to my mom about how he was like so mad that he was like about to like hit him in front of his teacher or whatever, and my mom was like, no, don't do that, like he's a man, he's gonna feel shamed. I'm like, what does it matter if he's like a man or a woman? And my mom just like didn't even realize
what she said, like, or like kind of like
how she internalizes sexism in that way, right? And it's everybody. It's like all of like our parents, us, and it's like I asked her, I'm like, what does it have to do that he's a guy or a girl? And she said, well, you know, because men feel more ashamed.
It's the male ego.
It's the male ego, right? But it's also like the woman always protecting the male ego, right?
Damn. So it's like a symbiotic kind of like relationship. Wow, it's so good.
Yeah. So
that was really good.
You know, you have to like catch yourself if you really like actually want to.
If you care,
if you care, because I'm not gonna say feminism because I feel like people get triggered with that word, but it's about.
Our next topic is feminism, so stay tuned.
It's not just about protecting women and like making sure that women are equal or whatever. It's also like these systems also benefit male. You know, like feminism, they're created for the equality of like everybody. It's not just like towards women. It started with women. It did because women didn't have the right to vote.
That's where we're
they didn't have
disagree.
Property rights. They didn't have like all these things, and now it's just evolved, I think, into something different that benefits even men. Paternity leave, you know, it's something that came from like the foundation of equality, and it benefits men. So I find it interesting when women say, I'm not it's usually like, I'm not a feminist, but, and then they insert something that feminism is fighting for, like, for them to have.
It's kind of like, I'm not a racist, but.
But, then, yeah, but it's the opposite. Because
right.
they'll say, I'm not a feminist, but
in my view,
I hate it when I am earning 80 cents to like what the male is earning $1, what men are earning $1 for.
Well, because at the end of the day, all you're looking for is equality. I don't think equality should be labeled feminism or masculinism, if that's even a word, I don't know, or ism. It's just, if you really believe in the equality of any people, systems, ideas, beliefs, you don't segregate them into a whole movement or thing of their own. It's just equality. It's just what it is. And I agree that since women have been underrepresented and non-equals and all this shit, and to this day we still have that issue, that since the males are not the problem and it's the femininity or the feminism that's the problem, yeah, we need to bring awareness, but feminism in itself has morphed itself in many ways into a fucking monster. Like, it's just become something ugly in a lot of women. Where it just becomes about hating men and the patriarchy and all this shit. And if you're really trying to have a healthy, symbiotic ecosystem, I don't know if I even use that in the right context.
Who knows what he's talking
about? What I'm saying? Then that becomes harmful, specifically towards males. Like, if you're like teaching little kids like about little boys about toxic masculinity, this and that, and it's bad to be a guy, and it's bad to be manly, and it's bad to what is that? You're causing more the problems that you're trying to fix within the male. If you're trying to fix male like repressing emotions or male mentality or all these things that clearly males need help with, we haven't had that kind of like, I guess, help in the past. Then these types of beliefs in the feminism community harbor that. They not embellish. They exacerbate that. You know what I mean? Do you understand?
I don't know what you mean.
I didn't make any sense.
No, I think I do. I think that to add on to what you said about the patriarchy, you don't have to be female to hate the patriarchy.
No, correct. But I added it in there, but whatever.
Yeah.
It's, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. What did you say after that?
So that how, for example, a few years ago, I'll never forget this. It was some sort of, I don't remember where I was at. I was at a store, and I opened the door for a woman. And she looked at me and she goes, I don't need a man to open the door for me. I have two hands. I swear to God, I wanted to grab the door and just slam it at her. Like, what is that, guy? Like, what is wrong with you?
Right.
I would have done that for a guy too. It's just manners.
It's just manners.
Like, how are you so like indoctrinated by the media or whatever the fuck narrative people want to like shove up your asshole that you're out here being rude as fuck to people?
Right.
That's not, you
But
get me?
that's not what it's about. And I feel like that's where the miscommunication happens.
It's not what it's about, but there's many people in that feminism community that cultivate that.
Right.
Like, you have to separate the two. Like, the feminism that is about actual equality and fixing issues, and the feminism that is about like these like butch lesbians that are like fuck men and like, you know, men are all the devil and all this crazy shit. Some of them don't take it that far, but in a lot of their actions, they take it to that extent.
Right. I mean, that's just anger, I think. It's like anger towards a system that never worked for you.
And how does anger fix a problem?
I don't know. I think that when people say, I don't need a man to do this, that's also an issue. Because, yeah, I don't need a man to own my own house.
Absolutely.
Because of property rights that feminism got us to, right? But I don't need a man to vote. I don't need a man to own a car, to have a job, not even to raise a kid, right? But my thing is like, yeah, I don't need one, but I want one because we're supposed to be together in this partnership.
Correct.
And have like this
It's a
equal
duality
household sort of thing.
It's a duality. So it's also what I wrote in my notes. It's kind of like you're trying, not everyone, but a lot of these feminists, they're trying to break away the natural order. And I'm not talking about the natural order of female, male. It could be two males or two females, whatever. But everything in life has its duality. Right and wrong, yin and yang, female, male, in everything. Even in energy, is like, right, the masculine energy and the feminine energy, but sexually they could both be the same gender. Everything has its balance, and trying to do away with the other is just harmful for the entire sanctity of everything, of the way the world functions itself, and the animal planet, the plant planet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm definitely not trying to do away with with men
we
and
know
like
Suanny's not
masculine
trying.
energy, because I feel like going back to what I was saying, that I feel that I don't need a man to do those things. But if I tell you I don't need a man to like live with me in my house or to raise my kid, then I put myself in a worse position because I rely just on myself, right? And I have to work double as hard to like
pasando
raise
trabajo
this
por
person,
gusto.
right? Where I could just be happy and like accept what it is that I want. And that's with any partner. Like, it doesn't have to be, you know, male, female partners, but that's just what we're talking about
Yeah.
here.
But even like gay couples, you have the masculine and feminine energy
Right.
usually, you know? So
Right.
it's not about that. It's just like that's the natural order of things. Whether, you know, that's the sexuality of it is irrelevant to that.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's just so much to talk about that we could never just discuss now, like in terms of gender and like sexuality as it relates to feminism or as it relates to certain like social movements, because it's so nuanced that at some point you're like, I don't know where we started and where we ended talking about this, you know?
But even my thing is just trying to do away with masculinity itself. Like, I understand we're trying to do away with masculinity that can be considered toxic, and I hate the term toxic masculinity. But yeah,
Why do you hate it?
Because you need men, you need strength in a society, no matter. Now, maybe you just need to direct that strength and that masculinity in the right manner, not do away with it. It's to me, it's specific,
and
and
trying
it's
to
just
do away with it though.
no. A lot of people, yes, there's so many instances and videos of like moms like shaming little boys for doing little boy things, like toxic masculinity type of thing. They're little boys.
Yeah.
Like it's things that these little boys are still so young that they probably haven't even learned. It's just innate to them because of their chemistry, their body. They're like, no, be more feminine. Like, No, let him be.
I've actually seen the
let
opposite.
him be who
Yeah.
he is, and then if he wants to be like more feminine in the future or whatever, but let him develop. It's going against. You see the hypocriticism in it. It's going against the way they naturally want to be, right? But when they naturally want to be gay or transgender, whatever, oh, that's what they naturally want to be. But if a little boy wants to be naturally like, you're like, no, don't be a man. Like, no, if you want people to be naturally who they really are, you have to accept them all for who they are. And if some behaviors are harmful, well, learn to drive and, why are you laughing at me?
Namaste, accept everybody, world's peace.
Because it's true. It's
Yeah.
there's such a hypocrisy in it. Like, it's a double standard as well.
Well, I think I've seen the opposite because one time I was walking, and this was recently, I was walking in Walmart, and there was this little kid in the shopping cart, and his parents were next to him. His mom tells him pick a toothbrush because he needed a new one, and he picks the pink one. And his dad says, he's like, no, not that pink. Pink is for girls.
Yeah.
And I felt like personally attacked, like in that instance, because his dad got so mad. And the mom was like, just let him pick whatever toothbrush he wants. Like, it doesn't matter the color. He's like, no, you're not going to get a pink toothbrush because pink is for girls. And I was just like, there's just so much to this, right?
It's a fucking color.
Yeah.
Who gives a fuck?
But it's a gendered color, right?
It's a gender color.
So
yeah.
it's like, we interact with gender and sex like every day, and like all types of marketing and everything. So that's why it's important to educate yourself on these things, so that when you see it, you can call it for what it is.
You
and
have
you can
to-
say
you have
you're
to
not
want-
being sold to, right? Unless you decide like, yes, I do agree with this, with sexism or whatever.
You have to care. You have to want to really shape your thought and just be a better person to yourself, to your community. By being a better person to yourself, you're a better person to the community and to your family and to surroundings and all that shit. And that's ultimately what it stems into.
Yeah, and even like thinking outside of your individual self, like thinking globally, there's still women who don't have equal rights, who don't have the
it's
same
terrible.
access to reproductive. There's women in the United States who don't have the same access to reproductive systems that other states do. Not the same education, like everywhere. So it also influences like what happens globally on a global scale. So if you're educating yourself on this, then you're actually saving the world.
It's a hot take from Fun with Swan.
It's true though.
No, I agree. Yeah, to an extent. Yeah. But that's my issue with feminism. Really, like, it's more egalitarianism than feminism. It's just like a quality of it all. Again, I feel like when you segregate these things, like you're doing the opposite. You're just segregating more and more.
Well, I think because of the way that it started.
Yeah, it's
It has those
underrepresentation
roots.
and yeah.
Or like not being able to vote, not having the same access.
But
to
at some
things.
point, I feel like these movements have to continue, correct? To continue to evolve the rest of society and all this. But at the same time, while not segregating themselves, while just becoming more inclusive with the general, than actual like, oh, we're just separate on our own.
Right.
Like,
and that's even an issue
What is
within
that
like the
guy?
feminist, like the third or fourth wave feminist community. It's like you have to also include now all of these other factors that that go into account, like race, gender, whatever it is, social class, and so it's even a discussion within that. So my thing is just like coming from like a theoretical background of it, of like learning about it and talking to somebody who doesn't have that background. It's like, yeah, how can I get this message to you? How can I like say that feminism is also good for you as a man, and that you can kind of understand or like get to that place where it's like we're just having a conversation. I don't know anything, like I don't know more than you. I just have like this background of like the history of it, right? But in terms of where we're getting at, or where I'm trying to get at, it's like I want you to have this information, and that's what it is behind everything, like every social movement.
and you're right, there is benefits that males do, I think, receive from the right type of feminism. And like you said, it's paternity leave and maybe mental health types of programs for men, realizing that men have emotions too. Men cry, men doesn't feel shit. You don't just harbor that inside and fucking blow your brains out one day.
Or somebody else's.
Or somebody else's. That's so there's a lot of good that feminism does bring, but the right type of feminism.
Yeah. I mean, just to like reiterate the same points we've been making, that maternity leave, equal pay, all of these rights are because of feminism. So I don't know. I don't get triggered, but I just get like when I hear a woman say, "I'm not a feminist," but I'm like, you're literally, or you want these same things, but you don't want to say the word feminist because we've been so ingrained to think that like the feminine is something that we shouldn't.
That's a great topic.
Be associated with.
That triggered in me. Miami. Now that we're on the topic of Miami women and feminism and all that shit, Miami's a big hub for anti-feminist women. Because they really embrace the macho culture. They're like, tell me what the fuck to do. I want to be home cooking. I want to be home cleaning. You're the man. I'll do whatever the fuck you say. Like,
I mean, I've never said that.
No, I know.
I don't cook. I don't clean.
But let me tell you, you don't got a ring.
I got a ring, and I do cook and clean.
That's why you don't got a ring. I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's a lot of because it's a Hispanic culture, right? So do you think
it's interesting because I feel like in terms of like romantic partners, like I definitely want to feel like security and supported and I like the masculine energy, and I like that dynamic because I think I am very feminine in that way.
The balance, yeah.
Yeah, outside of feminist, I think I'm very feminine. But it's also, I think it's like an interesting power play where it's like, okay, individually maybe I do like that on a romantic thing, on like a romantic scale, but globally and like in terms of systems of oppression that are like created to not help me out or help you out as a minority or as a woman, then I'm like, it doesn't work like that. But I don't know, maybe it's like the Latinx culture where it's like,
I think it's it's bred in our Latino past and shit. I guess because of let me phrase this the right way. Look at me holding back my words.
Phrase it how you want to phrase it.
It comes from if you ask a true feminist, right, they'll probably say it comes from the patriarchy, the machismo culture, right, that have subdued the woman into her place, in the kitchen or, being taken care of, like being submissive. And that's probably bred that mentality of woman to like that, right? Or to
think that's
what she's supposed to be doing.
And wait, this is where it gets interesting.
But what if she actually does?
Yeah, some women do. And this is where it gets, like I said, like more complex,
nuanced,
right? Where nuanced, because some women do, right? And I feel like sometimes you see women who are very much dedicated to their professional lives say, oh, have this. I've seen interactions where it's like one of the women are, is stay at home, and the other one is a professional, whatever. And it's like they shame the stay at home mom because like, oh, well, you have all this time because you stay at home and like. You have
I think that's a full-time job being at home,
right? And then the other one shames, somebody like shames a professional for not doing this, right? So it goes like
back and forth, critiquing each other,
and also not something that we should be thinking that because I chose my career, I'm better because I choose not to stay at home. But also to go back to like what you were saying about like our culture and where we come from. I think like when I go to Cuba, I see that women find a lot of value in being like at home and being able to like make food for everybody, and that's a sense
as the
of value
caretaker of the family.
Right. And I think that a lot of women do enjoy that.
I think that's perfectly admirable. If it all goes down to what is your truth.
Right.
What brings you joy.
Right.
If it's a corporate job, it's a corporate job. If it's a stay-at-home mom, it's a stay-at-home mom,
Yeah.
What I mean?
Yeah, I mean, and if you can be a stay-at-home mom, like I'm all for it.
Go for it.
I'm down to be a stay-at-home mom for like a couple years.
She's looking for a partner, preferably male, that will work and take care of her. Plot twist. Plot twist. She's the anti-feminist.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. That's another topic, like sugar babies and like women who are like all about that.
Oh yeah.
This is a good topic too.
That's big in Miami too.
Yeah.
That could be a whole other episode. Yeah.
Yeah, and like to touch on it briefly, I think it's interesting because I always see like people on TikTok talk about this is how I get my money as a sugar baby, blah blah blah, and it's like, oh, that's interesting. You're like using a system you're finding your sort of loopholes within like the system that doesn't really favor you by doing this. So I'm interested in like how that works and how they feel emotionally towards that, because I know a lot of women are like,
Because she's trying to become a sugar baby.
I'm interested in where we could find these sugar daddies.
Sugarbabies.com.
Yeah.
Don't ask me how I know that.
The girls will like give you resources on how to find these things. I think it's a great topic, and we could get into it later, but
Just go on OnlyFans. That's a whole other topic,
that's a
OnlyFans.
whole other topic too.
Ay.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it all goes down to what's your truth, right? And live and let live. That's it. And extremism. Extremism. Being too extreme to one end of any subject, I feel is harmful for society, for many things, and yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Susie, Suanny, Shabby,
That's it for now.
Snake. That's it for now. We've had a very interesting conversation.
Yeah, it's been good. High five, my dude.
And yeah, follow Fun with Swan on Instagram. Plug your stuff.
Follow me on YouTube, first and foremost, Suanny Garcia, on Instagram and on TikTok. I'm a lot better on TikTok. I have Keto with Swan, which is like my food recipe page. Because I don't cook, I don't clean, but like I do. And then I have my other page, which is, I don't know, just like for fun. Because I love TikTok. So I have 2 accounts. Anyway, follow me there. The book is coming out soon. And the women that are watching this, I think, are going to like it. So.
Awesome. Nice little hint of what's to come up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all the time we got for today. Remember to like, subscribe if you haven't already, because I got a few of you that just been watching and you're not subscribed. So what is that, guy? And comment, share, please. And that's it, guys.
I want to say your ending statement.
You want to say it?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's Swan's gonna take over.
It's gonna be good. And as always.
Oh God. Can I walk out of here for this?
And as always. You're serious, professional. And as always, no te metas con nadie para que nadie te la meta.
See you next Thursday, guys. Peace out.